about that. But I'm so glad that all of you have joined me today. And a lot of times, most of your questions will get answered through this presentation. It's a really quick 25 to 30 minutes because I know your time is valuable. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and my moderator will ask the questions and I will answer them at the end of this presentation. If there are questions that you have that I'm not able to answer on this call, you can email me at info@taxliendreamteam.online. And like she said before, if you stay till the end, we're gonna give you a free checklist that I utilize for all the properties that I vet. So I'm just gonna move into the presentation right now. So a little bit about myself. This is so weird for me, you guys, because I'm so used to being on the other end. I can't even see myself, so bear with me when I'm like clicking on stuff. So for those that don't know me, my name's Mika Coleman, and I've been investing in real estate for 17 years. Over those 17 years, I've bought and I've sold over $1 million worth of real estate. And to give you a little background about myself, I started buying properties all over the United States in 2003. And so for some of you have been around long enough to know what happened in 2007 and 2008. Unfortunately, I pretty much lost everything. But in the interim of me investing in real estate, I learned one simple thing about single family residents. I was property rich and cash poor. And I had all my eggs in one basket. So I didn't have another avenue to play because I had all my assets in real estate, which leads me to another journey that I began, which is I'm now a trainer and speaker for the National Commercial Real Estate Association. So some of you that are interested in commercial real estate, Michael Simpson is one of my coaches for commercial only, and he's offering free classes on Thursday, and the website is right there, www.ncrea.com. He's a great speaker, and he could teach you everything you want to know about commercials. So those are for the more advanced people. But today I'm going to be talking about tax deeds. And I also want to let you know that I'm also a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. And I wrote that book because what I learned was I was using all my personal assets to buy property as opposed to leveraging business credit. So that's what my book's about. You can find me on Amazon. It's The Entrepreneur's Guide to Business Credit, or you could just Google my name in Amazon and you'll find my book. And because of the times, a lot of people are losing their jobs and they're limited to money. Business credit is one of the ways that I was able to build my empire quicker and faster after losing everything in 2008 and 2009, which leads me to why I decided that I wanted to teach other people about tax deeds because it's one of the best investments that I've done thus far, where you can get in very low and you can have a high return. And as you know, we're overdue for a real estate downturn. So this is a good time for all of you that are on this call right now, because I'm gonna tell you, I've been doing this for 17 years and this is a niche investment. So I'm excited to share with you a little bit more about what tax deeds are. Now, if you're here for tax liens, I repeat, if you're here for tax liens, I am not teaching that. I'm only teaching tax deeds, and I'll explain the difference shortly. But if you're here for tax lien, you're in the wrong place. This is only for tax deeds. So I have a quick question for you. How many of you want to get heavily discounted properties? And just so I know that you're listening, put in the amount that you want to pay for your first tax deed property. Just out of curiosity, I just want to kind of know, just put in a number of what you think you can buy a tax deed property for, your first one, just really quick.
Okay, we're getting everything from 1,500, 1,000, 2,500, 25,000.
Good, good. And actually, there's no wrong answers, because one thing that I've learned, I've been helping students for the last 2.5 weeks now. And when I tell you there's a budget for everyone, there's a budget for everyone. Now, some counties you may not be able to invest in, but there are counties that you could actually afford. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about what tax deeds are versus tax liens. Now, at the end of the day, tax deeds and tax liens are pretty much often Did somebody not get mute? Okay. They're pretty much auctioned if the person doesn't pay their property taxes. So if someone doesn't pay their property taxes, they get auctioned off at an auction, or they get sold off. Now, the difference between tax deeds and tax liens is that tax liens is simply a security certificate that has interest in a property. In tax deeds, you're basically auctioning to get the deed of that property. And the simplest way I like to explain it is that tax deeds, you're bidding to get the actual deed to that property, meaning that you get immediate ownership. Whereas tax liens, you're holding a piece of paper in hopes that they come back, but there's interest on that piece of paper. And in the event that the person doesn't come back, then you have to do a foreclosure to get that property. So that's why I personally, this is just my own personal preference, that's why I don't like to do tax liens, because I don't want to do that extra process. Now, there are 19 states that are tax deed states, and these are all the tax deed states in the United States. And what I want you to know is there's two types of deeds. There's a straight deed, and then there's a redeemable deed. Now, some of these states offer straight deeds, and then some of these states offer redeemable deeds. Now, for example, I'm in Texas, so if you guys hear thundering lightning right now, it's because it's thundering outside. But in Texas, they have a redeemable tax deed, meaning that you have to wait till the redemption period. Now, I know some of you have saw my videos and you're like, okay, how am I getting all these properties? There is a strategy that you can utilize that you don't have to wait for the redemption period. But most out of all these 19 states, they all do have a redemption period if you're bidding at a public auction. Another thing that I've learned by helping students across the United States is that some of these states are what you call hybrid states. And what that means is that even though this is a list of tax deed states, there are some of the states that have counties that do both. So you might go into a county and you'll look it up and you'll realize that they do tax deeds and they do tax liens. Or that county might just do tax liens even though it's a tax deed state. So you have to do your research on what county you want to invest in. But these are all the tax deed states. So I wanted to, because some people ask me, well, how do I know if my state's a tax deed state? Well, here you go. That's the list. So there's 5 simple steps that I utilize when I invest in tax deeds. Number 1, you have to research every county before you invest in it. For example, I'm in Texas. I've been investing in 3 different counties. And when I tell you they all do business differently, they all do business differently. But the one thing that stands firm across the state is if you go to a public auction, the redemption period is 6 months. And then it's a 25% return if the owner comes back to redeem it. So that's one of the things I love about tax deeds, because it's like you really can't lose. But there's also where you can have a list that you can just purchase it without going to the auction, and you have no competition. So that's the second step. You could find a public list and you could find a private list. Now, some of you might have been on my Facebook post because I did have a few students in California. So I decided to invest in California, and I'm actually from there. And so one of the things that I've noticed about California in some of their counties, they don't have a strike-off list, meaning you can't directly buy from them. But I was able to find some decent properties. Matter of fact, San Joaquin just closed, which is Stockton, and they actually have properties on there that no one bidded on. So that let me know that this still is a niche investment. So while everybody's chasing after foreclosures and short sales and, dilapidated properties, people are forgetting about tax deeds. So I just want you guys to know that this process is real easy and simple. And then step number 3, wait, I had a message. Can anybody drop their state in the chat box so we can get an idea of who's on this call, so that maybe I can help guide you? I just got a message for that. So drop your state. I forgot to say that in the beginning. Put your state and your city from where you're from. The next thing, step number 3 is you have to pretty much research and vet your properties. So for example, I was in California, and the reason why I decided to move to Texas is because I was going back and forth, and I would actually try to do the research in California. And what I found is when I did it over Google Maps and I actually came and physically saw the property, there was no property there. So it's really important to do your research and vet the properties. And then step number 4 is determining what your maximum bid price will be. Now, I go into a little bit more detail about that in my course, but because of the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that. But it really depends on what your exit strategy is going to be on how your maximum bid price is what you're going to bid up to. And then step 5 is getting the property free and clear. And a lot of people don't really understand that. But if you're buying a property from the tax deed auction, if there was a mortgage on it, if there were liens on it, they're wiped away and you're getting that property free and clear. So those are the 5 simple steps to investing in tax deeds. And so what I like to do now is show you the first 2 steps of what I do to research these properties in the different counties in the different states. So now I'm going to go to, and also too, I am going to be offering a course because a lot of people are asking me, Mika, how do you do this? How do you do this? I don't have time because I'm also still investing. So I created a course to share this with all my friends and people that want to do this. So all the resources that I provide in my course are free resources. And so I'm going to go over, show you the first step of what I do when I'm researching properties. Is my screen up, Lorraine? Can everybody see?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Great. So it worked. So just for the sake of this presentation, I'm using California. And so right here, you can click all the 50 states in the United States of whatever tax deed state you want to invest in. That's where I go. So I'm already in California. And then right here on the next drop-down menu, you have search by the county. So these are all the counties in California. So there's a lot of counties. There's actually, I believe, 58 counties in California. So this is where I start first if I want to invest in a state, and then I'm trying to find out the county. And then right here, oh my gosh, why did that do that? Right here where it says search by category, you want to click assessor and property tax records. Now this is going to give you all the information that you need to contact that county's property tax records. That's step number 1. And now I'm going to go back to the presentation if it lets me. And now I'm going to show you a free tax deed sale list, a resource that I use if you're in Texas. And so I'm going to go to one of the counties that I invest in right now. It's Tarrant County. And you see it says buyers beware, because what a lot of people do is they see properties really cheap and then they don't do their due diligence. And that's something that I teach a little bit more detail in my course, but I'm giving you some tools and just showing you the first steps of what you need. So the first step, I showed you how to actually find the county and the state you want to invest in. Now this is a free list. And I just want to stress this for some people that may want to do this on their own or they want to try to figure it out. Before I knew of this, I was buying a list. And so one of the things that I always try to tell people is knowledge is power. So if you don't know, you end up paying for it. So for a whole year, I was paying for a list I could have got free. So this is the list if you're in Texas. And so you can go by the county. You could click down. These are all the counties in Texas. And so we're in Tarrant County. As you can see, it says 349 properties. And so then I sort by the minimum bid. And the reason why I'm doing this for you guys is because I want to show you that you see how it says estimated minimum bid $390. Now this is for future sales, so this is probably for June. I just wanted to scroll and show you that a lot of these properties, some of them start at 200, some of them start at 300, 500, 1,000. This is a free list that's accessible to anybody, pretty much. And you can utilize this as your second step to actually finding properties and finding a list. Now, in my course, I do offer other websites for other states, but the best way to do it is actually going directly to the county, especially if you want that list where no one's getting, where it's not public access. So this list and finding these properties are for people that want to do the public auction. So this is just the second step of like finding the properties and now researching them, and then basically vetting it. So I always tell people this is estimated bid. So if you had a budget of $1,000, you probably would only want to bid on these first two, which is $390 and $558. And it also really depends on the value. Now, this adjusted value is the tax assessor's value. It's always 10 times lower than what the retail value is, but it gives you a gauge. That's how I've really been successful about actually understanding and knowing the value and vetting the property. So those are the first two resources and tools that you need to investing in tax deeds. So I'm going to go on to the next step. Sorry. So now I'm going to just go into the benefits of investing in tax deeds. Number one, it's a minimal to no risk. And you might be asking how? How is it like no risk? Well, first of all, you don't want to buy something unless you know the value. Once you know the value, then you know at what point you want to actually bid up to that property or how much you want to pay for that tax deed. One of the things that I really, really love is that some of the counties actually have lists that no one else wants, and you actually have to walk in and get the list. So a lot of people are like, give me the list, give me the list. Well, unfortunately, I'm not giving away the list because I had to actually go and find it, and then you have to actually go evaluate it, and then you have to vet it. So it's not as simple as it looks, but there's some golden nuggets in there. The second thing is that your minimum investment, it could be $500. I had a student 2.5 weeks ago. She brought her first tax deed. She told me her budget was $1,000. So anytime a student tells me their budget's like $1,000 or $500, I cut it in half. She brought her first tax deed at $360. So when I tell you there's a budget for everybody in this business, there's a budget for everyone, especially if you're in Texas. There's 250 counties. And someone was like, well, Mika, why are you telling everybody? And I was like, well, in Texas, the auctions happen every first Tuesday. So I could only cover 12 counties. So why not share the wealth, right? The next thing I want you to know, the benefits in tax deeds is a guaranteed return. So for example, if you decide that you don't want to do a private list and actually go and walk into the county, you can actually go to a website and you can actually do open bids. Now, some of you probably saw me. I was doing an online bid. Most of California tax deed properties are online. One of the things that what I learned about California, however, is that there isn't a redemption period once it goes to auction. In Texas, once it goes to auction, there's a 6-month redemption period. But what I love about the guaranteed return, within that redemption period time, if the owner decides to come back, they have to pay you plus 25% return on your money. I don't know where you're going to get that in 6 months. The next thing is that you get the property free and clear. I don't know too many people that are getting properties free and clear when the value might be 200 or 100,000 and you paid like 15 or 20. So those are the benefits of investing in tax deeds. The next thing, now that I'm getting closer to the end, now I don't know, so Lorraine's gonna actually put in the link box, if you want the free checklist, you need to just enter your information and the list will automatically be downloaded to you. Now I want you to know this is a free list. It's basically general instructions of the process I use for each property, because what a lot of people think is that, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna go on that list and I'm gonna buy the properties, and then they haven't done all the homework. And so I would hate for one of you guys to go buy a property and you haven't vetted it and actually done the research first. So that's really important. So if you just I think Lorraine probably put it in the chat box right now, and you put your information and the list to automatically be downloaded to you.
Okay, I just put the link in the chat box. If you cannot click directly in the chat box, please copy and paste that link into your own browser. Put your information in, and please put your information in, and then it'll automate a list back to you. So once you put your information in and hit enter, your list will show up in your inbox. And we do have 2 questions on the floor if you'd like to answer them.
Huh?
We have 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is, can you repeat the guaranteed return? Is it 25% return?
So in the state of Texas, every state is different. I've only been doing, like I said, I just did California. California's 18%, and Texas is 25%. Every state will have a rate of return different. Everyone's different.
The second question is, how many months in California versus Texas? So I'm guessing they're asking about the redemption period months.
So the redemption period, and let me stress this, I'm glad that they asked this question. So I just did San Joaquin County, and I was looking into Alameda and Butte County. Now, if you go online and you look for California tax deeds, they're gonna tell you the redemption period is 2 years. So they have 2 type of auctions. So the auction that I was on, they say that the owner has a year to come back, but you could do whatever you want with that property. So to be safe, the California state tax deed rule is 2 years. However, every county is going to do business differently. So when I called San Joaquin, they were like, well, you can do anything with the property. The property is yours, but the owner has a year to come back and contest. But they said 9 times out of 10, the owner never comes back. And if the owner does come back, then they have to pay 18% return on whatever you purchased that deed for.
Okay, we have one more question.
Okay.
Are the redemption periods for homestead exempt homes only?
Are redemption periods for, say that again.
Are the redemption periods for homestead exempt homes only?
So let's talk about that. Somebody really knows about that. I didn't want to get into that, but I'm going to talk about it since you asked it. So if a property is homesteaded, yes, they are exempt. They're not exempt from getting their property auctioned, but they have a longer redemption period. So for example, in the state of Texas, if their property is homesteaded, they have 2 years to redeem that property. But within those 2 years, you can actually rent that property out. I wouldn't suggest, rehabbing it or anything like that, but the owner has 2 years to come back to redeem it. In California, the way they told me is that it's just 1 year.
Okay, if there's any more questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat box. And also, please copy and paste the link that I just posted into your browser, put your information in, and you'll get an automated email back with the checklist.
So I'm glad that we were talking about redemption periods. So what I've been successful at, and I offer this in a course that I offer that I will be talking about closer to the end of this presentation, is that I've been successful. People are asking me, where am I getting all these properties? Well, first of all, I've been doing a lot of research, and sometimes I'll go to the auctions just to vet it, to see, okay, who are the players, who's bidding, and then I'm looking to see what properties did not actually sell. So there's several different ways that you can ask different counties on how to find these properties. But with the properties that have already been auctioned and no one's purchased, there are no redemption periods. You don't have to wait for the auction, and there aren't any cancellations. And so if someone's not familiar with that, for example, last year I would fly out here and I would look at these properties that I've done all my research to buy, and then I would get to the auction and they're all canceled. So I not only wasted my time, but I wasted my money and I wasted my energy. So just from going to these auctions, I've learned, and talking to the counties, I've learned that there's other lists, but nobody ever talks about them. I mean, even some of the veterans don't even know about these lists. So that's what I like to really teach and stress to my students about, how to dig in and ask the specific questions on actual how to get those lists from certain counties. Now I have to reiterate, because I was doing my homework, helping some students out, California doesn't offer it. In matter of fact, California's counties only do it once a year, where Texas, they do it once every month. And it's probably because there's a lot of land, and especially where I live, the taxes are pretty high. So they do it on the first Tuesday of every month. So there is a list that you can get where there's no competition. So what I'd like to offer for some of you guys that are serious and you guys are really interested in learning how to do the tax deed education, I'd like to just talk about what I offer in my course. And pretty much I provide you a step-by-step checklist. And with that checklist, you do get videos to guide you through the process. And then you also get resources on how and where to find the properties. And I also give you an exit strategy for the different situations. And then I also do one-on-one coaching for a game plan. So there's two different packages that I'm offering. And one's the basic package. And basically that package is just giving you all the tools that you need to actually do the tax deed course. And my first student, I really love her. Like, she literally was able to buy and sell one within 2 weeks, and she was able to triple her money. And she actually did the deluxe. She didn't do the basic. But if you kind of have an idea of how to do it, you might just need the basic. But with my deluxe, what I do, because I've been an investor, I've been an entrepreneur, and so I know sometimes we need accountability, right? Or we just need direction, or we need questions asked. So in my deluxe, I do offer 3 one-on-one coaching calls. And so what we do is we do a personalized action plan, and then I'm giving you accesses to other resources, and I actually help you find other counties to invest in, as well as also too, I have a list that I give to my deluxe students if there's a county that they don't know, and I'll give them a list to invest in that county. So for all of you that are interested in purchasing one of my packages, I am offering this course. This is the website you can go to, and there is a coupon code for friends, and I like to just walk you through that. So it's $100 off the course. So for the $297, it's $197, and for the $697, it's $597. And I just want to walk you through to show you how you can book the course, because a lot of people ask me that. So right here where you say redeem code, if you put redeem code and you put friends, it automatically will take $100 off the course. Now, I'm going to tell you, it took me 2 years to do this recipe, and now I'm literally giving it away. And what I'm learning is that the value that I'm giving to people, it's superseding what they're making. And I'm gonna, for the whole month of May, I'm more than likely gonna keep these prices as they are. But come June, because I've been getting bombarded with students, come June, I will not be doing 3 one-on-one calls. Right now, I have enough time to manage the students I have, but come June, I won't be offering 3 one-on-one coaching. It will turn into group coaching, and the prices more than likely will go up, because I've had 3 students that already had success. And I mean, I was offering $597. One student made $2,000. Another student made what did she say? She brought it for like $2,500 and sold it for $6,000. And I was like, I love it. So for the whole month of May, I'm keeping my prices the same. But when June comes, I'm probably more than likely going to go up, and I will not be offering as many one-on-one coaches. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer on this call as right now?
Yeah, we have another question. It says, can you get insurance on a tax deed?
So explain a little bit about insurance on a tax deed. Because a tax deed is you're actually getting a deed to a property. So are you saying, can you get insurance on that lot or insurance on that house? Is that what you're asking? Because when you go to the auction and you actually acquire the tax deed, that is your property. There is no actual insurance on the deed, but you can get insurance on the property or on the land. Did I answer your question right?
Okay, she said yes, and thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
We don't have any more questions coming to the chat box.
Okay, well, that concludes my call. Like I said, it's a quick 25, 30-minute call just to give you the basics. It's a really simple process. I've had success so far with some of my students, and so I look forward to working with some of you on the other side. Thank you for your time.
I will keep the chat box open for a few more minutes if anybody has any other questions.
Are you answering Isaac's question, Lorraine?
Is that Mr. B?
No, it was Isaac Square.
No, he might have sent it to you privately. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've covered everyone on this end. If no one has any more questions, I don't know. I don't see any more new questions. Oh, Isaac.
I answered it.
Okay. Are the auction dates different by county in California since they're once a year?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Are the auction dates different by county in California since they're once a year?
Yes, they are. All of them are different. And I think, oh, that's Dee. Hi, Dee. In my course, I actually have a list of where you can get the properties in California.
Okay, if you have more questions, load them in the box. I'm going to keep it open for just a couple more minutes. Okay. Oh, wait, we have another question. Can you send me San Joaquin and Stockton?
Okay.
We will answer that offline. If you want to email, here, I'll put the email address. If you have, we have some people that want to do some one-on-ones. Here, for those personal questions, I'm going to put in an email address, and you can direct your questions to this email address, please. It's colemanmika7@gmail.com. You can direct the rest of your questions there, and I'm going to log off now.
Okay.